Hello everyone! Today I am taking you on a homeschooling field trip in the Houston area, Fort Bend County, to George Ranch Historical Park. It is a beautiful park. It was one of our first homeschooling trip, and I have to say, so far, the best one. Extremely well done. You can see here the schedule. You have different houses that represent the generations of farmers starting in the 1830s with the pioneers, and then you move 1860s, 90s, the 1900s, and you can see the different generations and how history evolved on the ranch. So this is the tram that takes you around on the different stops, the different houses, mansions, farms, on this ranch. And you can go through, here you see it's the entrance where you have the cattle, the horses, when they do the demonstration actually with the Longhorns and cattle. So very nice day. As you can see, sunny, dry. September in Texas is usually a pretty good month when the temperatures start cooling off. So it was a tiny bit better. There are picnic tables around the place, so you can bring lunch, have lunch, and take a break between the different houses and visits here. But here it was just the homeschoolers that day. It was on a Thursday, and we were a small group of how many? 20, 25 kids max, and some parents, of course. But that was it. The activity itself, so I chose the Pioneer. That was the theme for that Thursday. And activities lasted an hour and a half, 2 hours, starting around 10:30. And that is the farm where we are going to stop to understand how the pioneers lived. So this is the Jones Stock Farm in the 1830s. So we're going to learn how people lived around that time, the first pioneers, how they cooked, how they lived inside the house, how they made their clothes. So it's going to be very hands-on. As you can see, small group, and we're divided in even smaller groups. So we are the first one starting with the cooking here. So preparing cornbread right there at the table. So every kid got to participate, stir it, and this is the stove. So we're gonna do it in a Dutch oven, cast iron, and the kids learned how to make it back to the basics, pretty much how it was done in the 1830s, and they loved it. It was actually not too bad. We got to taste it on the way back, grab a bite, and it was okay. Given how it was made, it was very decent. And watching the fire in the Dutch oven was also very interesting. So overall, very well made. That was our first 20-25 minutes here, learning how to cook back in the days. And then we got to visit the house to see how they were sleeping and living inside this wood house. That took about a year to build, from what he explained, with local wood from the area. And then, given we have cotton as well growing in the area, we learned how to work with cotton. How do you make clothes?
He's happy.
Ooh, they're different from Gizzy here.
He's sniffing my food.
They have a muddy puddle over there. And boy.
Sniffing my food.
And so they just lay white eggs?
They're brown.
Oh, they're brown.
Both of them lay brown. Chickens over here at the bake sale.
Ah, the cornbread. Oh, it's looking pretty nice. Thank you. So the ranch is located in Fort Bend County, very close to the Brazos River, and it is full of alligators. That sign is not a joke. You do see alligators. We did not see any snake, but we did see an alligator. And you have to cross the river or some branch of the river several times with the tram. So just be aware, these signs are for real here. So continuing the discovery, here is the 1830's house, which we actually did not visit, so keeping it for a future homeschooling trip. But look at the beauty here. These trees are just gigantic and so beautiful, and so is the house. The whole place here is gorgeous, really gorgeous. See the Davis Victorian site, 1890s. I really admired the place. Very pretty. Not sure what I prefer actually between the house or the trees, because these trees are, I don't know how old they are. And so we finished the trip back to the entrance where they have the cattle for cowboy, cattle, longhorn demonstration. That was extremely well made as well, with explanations for the kids, and we even got to see the cows bathing. Explanation about that as well. So stay tuned for what's coming up here.
They're better at that than y'all.
Feet caught right here. We can do any doctoring. We can apply medication. We can give shots. We can give an ear tag to this cat. It's missing an ear tag. We can adjust we can address a missing brand if this cat has a missing brand. Neighbor's cat. We can kind of confirm it in this situation. Everything's said and done. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Take the ropes. That's just a little bit of roping. It's not done every day, but it is.
And here come the Longhorns.
Inside their horns there's blood. if they break a horn, they can leave.
This big steer here.
Uh-oh.
So the big guy here, his name is Valentine. Valentine's around 15 years old. He's around 2,000 pounds. And from tip to tip, he's about 7 feet wide. Now, the typical age of a fully grown cow on any given ranch is usually around 12 years. So something that lives to 15 is pretty old, but he's well taken care of. That's why he's in such good health. Longhorns were brought here by the Spanish. They were the very first domestic cattle breed brought to North America. He's not potty trained.
Animals.
He's not trained anyway, excuse me. But the Spanish brought these animals here as a source for their hide and for their horn and for their tallow. They were also used as plow animals from time to time. They would raise them in the interior of Texas, and then around 2 to 3 times a year they would gather the herds out of the interior, push them to the coast for slaughter. Then they would send the hides, the horn, and the body fat all the way back to Spain for further processing. Later on, as Americans and other settler groups would come to Texas under Mexican rule, they would start to learn from the Spanish how to handle these animals, how to handle them with horses, how to rope them, how to catch them, how to brand them. They would start raising some of the very first. They would start some of the very first ranches here in Texas, along with those original Mexican and Spanish settlers.
So we are leaving the cattle here and heading to the Ryan Prairie home, which represents the second generation after the initial pioneers that settled on the ranch, so 1860s. We visited the house and really saw a big difference in the way they were living 30 years later. The kids enjoyed it, ran around, played on the swings. It was toward the end of the trip here. Not everybody stayed. That was the afternoon, but we really had a great time, and as you can see, it was a beautiful day outside.
Get it, buddy. And you need to buckle your shoes after you lose them. Hey.